Welcome to the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast.
Every week, they talk about the Vancouver Canucks with a fair amount of nonsense thrown in.
Sure, they're never the first with the news, nor the best connected, and definitely more off the rails than on.
But they've been talking puck the longest, and that counts for something, right?
So strap in for the longest running, best mediocre Canucks Hockey Podcast.
It's C4 with Chris and Anna.
Hi, Anna. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Craig. I am now back in the world of the living.
Yeah. Well, you were in the world of the living last episode. It just happened to be that you were, still going through the customs lineup as we were recording the podcast.
Yeah,
episode.
pretty much. Yeah, I didn't feel like I felt fun when we started, but after we ended, I just felt like very out of it. So I feel a little more.
Did you get a full night's sleep?
I did actually. I felt like I actually haven't suffered any jet lag coming back.
Okay.
I have had a little bit of melatonin help, but yeah, I haven't had any disrupted sleep, so I feel good.
Yeah, I find the coming back to be much easier than going there.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know if it's. I know there's some science behind. East to west. I think going east is where the jet lag is worse. But
right.
I could have that backwards. I just know that from my personal experience, the few times that I've traveled beyond, so like gone to 3 hours ahead, 4 hours ahead, I've been able to make do. But like when I've gone to the UK, when I've gone to France, much worse. And I remember I came back from a school trip to France, and got home. It would have been like a afternoon or something like that. Came home, was just tired, went to bed. I actually slept for the whole night for all intents and purposes. Got up the next day, was doing my stuff. And my girlfriend at the time, we went to a movie. So this is my first full day back from this
already
trip.
I'm like, yeah.
And I can't remember what movie it is, which is probably related to the fact that I fell asleep on her shoulder not even like half an hour into it. I was.
That doesn't seem like a good plan. Like
no, and it's not like we went to a late movie. It might have been like dinner time.
Yeah. No, I feel like I just am very good at like adjusting now either way, in that like I plan my flight to sleep, and I just have it down, which I think is easier when you're not traveling with children. You're like traveling by yourself, you can kind of set it up how you want. But yeah, I feel like pretty legit, and like I feel like 8 hours I can deal with. But yeah, I don't know. As we've seen with the Canucks and the Goldeneyes, 3 hours sometimes is tricky.
Hey, that was the segue I was about to drop. So great minds think alike.
So in sync.
Yeah, no, it has to be the jet lag that's impacted both the Goldeneyes and the Vancouver Canucks, as neither of those teams have found a way to get points while out east. Anna and I were talking before we hit record here. We did not do the week that will be, which is something we often will do. We'll do sort of a 60-second, maybe a minute and a half. Excuse me. Sort of what do we think is going to happen? We didn't. And because we didn't set either team up for success, maybe the failure to get points is on us. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. It's probably our fault.
Yeah, but we'll talk a little bit about the fact that both teams are struggling to get points on the board, goals in the net, whatever it might be. And then we'll also talk a little bit about trades that may or may not be happening in the world of the Vancouver Canucks, and maybe a mid-season report card for the Vancouver Goldeneyes. But one thing I do promise is we will give you a week that will be this episode, that's for sure. But to get there, we first need to get through Rewind. The Vancouver Canucks got the week underway first, out in Buffalo, and what do I remember about this game? Not a whole lot. One, I completely forgot that puck drops at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, our time. I was still working. By the time that I had actually got upstairs to turn on the good old television, the Vancouver Canucks were losing. Was it 4-0? And I was like, oh man, I haven't missed all that much. But see, what I must have known is that I had tuned in the moment that the Vancouver Canucks would cue what was going to be the most epic comeback that didn't happen this season.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, especially last season, they were good at the comebacks that weren't a lot of like late rallies that never amounted to anything. Of course, the famous Dallas one did amount to something, even though in the grand scheme of things didn't matter. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about so many effects. Like Canucks bouncing back from the Quinn Hughes trade. Turns out all Buffalo needed was to be dissed by heated rivalry, which was referenced in the broadcast itself about how Buffalo is a terrible place and the hockey team sucks. Both of these things are still true after the 10-game skid that Buffalo went on, the 10-game tear rather that Buffalo went on. But yeah,
then they lost a game, but
they lost a single game.
Vancouver was in town.
Yeah. There's a thing in the Premier League called Dr. Tottenham, which is when you're losing, and then you play Tottenham.
Play the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Dr. Vancouver rolled into town, which I think was referenced kind of in the Wags's I Watched This Game as like Canucks a classic team to get milestone goals against, especially 500 goals.
Well, that which only happened a couple nights later.
Yes, exactly.
What was an epic contribution to by Vancouver to the record book. I mean,
yes, but I will say, like, just going back to the Buffalo game, I think people will say, "Oh, that rally that Canucks had doesn't matter." I think it does. To me, it does. It doesn't change who Vancouver are as a team at all. What it should do is give you hope for the future that once Canucks do some more work on themselves, that like they do have some spirit left in them. That's what it should give you hope for. It shouldn't change how you think of Vancouver as a team.
Yeah, and I mean, the third period was a combination of Vancouver playing sort of down 4-0 all-out hockey. Like defense hasn't worked for us so far. Who cares? Let's go and try to get one, wreck the shutout. And Buffalo thinking, we've got 4 goals. That's more than enough to beat the Vancouver Canucks tonight, which in many cases might have been. But I agree with you. Like watching that sort of 3-goal run where Buffalo took a time out after Ogren scored to settle themselves down. That's what I want to see more from Vancouver. Like I accept that in the 100%. World of a rebuild, it's going to be painful to watch this team, but go out and just play some pond hockey, like wild abandon.
Especially seeing Liam Ogren score, right? Like you want that young player rallying.
Right, and that's the stuff that sort of helps you hey, once they get their issues sorted out, that's going to be gold when this team has turned that corner. Hopefully, properly, though, who knows, considering it's a hybrid
retool that we're maybe almost on in, whatever. Yeah.
Jump over to the game against the Detroit Red Wings. As we alluded to, the fact that the Vancouver Canucks lost again helped one, was it Patrick Kane drop 500?
Who must not be named. Yeah.
Yeah. He got himself a couple goals in this game, but that empty net goal in the third period, that was a real nice gift from Vancouver to make that happen. complete giveaway on the sideboards, a defensive miscue, and
But like,
had
yeah,
himself an empty net to notch 500.
like neither of us are buying the whole Adam Foote we were right there thing. Like, no intelligent Vancouver fan is buying that. But like, what are we learning from Jake DeBrusk scoring another power play goal? Like, we know he can score power play goals. He's really good at that. Is he good at non-streaky scoring or non-special team scoring? Doesn't seem so. But like, yeah, it's just I'm not mad at Canucks not being close to winning at all. But I just want us to be building something, and it doesn't
Yay.
seem like we're building towards anything
So
with this lineup.
Gary Mason, who is known to be somewhat connected to ownership here in Vancouver, has been, referencing the fact that those Canucks fans, screaming from the rafters they want to rebuild, and then moments after the rebuild starts, they're screaming from the rafters that this team isn't good and it's the worst thing they've ever seen. First of all, interesting look that you're going to blame fans for what ails the Vancouver Canucks.
That's so like in such an insane take, and just like it's just screams are so disconnected from the fan base. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, Gary Mason, in fairness, is disconnected from the fan base.
Yeah, he's connected to
ownership.
exactly. We are well aware of how Gary Mason is laid up here, but yeah.
But you raise the point that like, hey, Foot, oh yeah, we're in it, yeah, because you're looking at like the shot count, saying, well, we're getting shots. You can get shots. That doesn't mean they're good ones. You can play good hockey despite not being a good team. You're going to probably lose more games than you win, but the Canucks are not playing good hockey. They're not making good decisions. Like, defensively, they're a mess. Marcus Pettersson, Tyler Myers, whatever the system happens to be, it doesn't suit them. Like, they're just getting windmilled, turnstiled.
Like, I feel like
spinning direction.
Like, I'm getting mad at Adam Foote here when it's also like, what else is he gonna say? Like, I'm not mad at Adam Foote, really. I'm a little bit mad at him, but like really, I'm mad at the GMs. Like, I'm mad at Alvin and Rutherford here, like, because I still think they could be doing so much more. Do I think Foote could be doing more? Sure, but like, unless he gets direction from above to say,
he's a proper tank commander.
I mean, he is in a way, but it's like, there's nothing from the way the Canucks are deployed that makes me think they're actually building from the future, but I also don't blame Foote for that. Like, unless he gets direction from above that says, look, like, play your young guys, play your best, which means, like, set yourself up for next year. Like, otherwise, all he can say is, we're trying to win, and we were close. Like, what else can he do?
Speaking of trying to win, were the Vancouver Canucks trying to win when they rolled into Toronto? One might argue, yes. In fairness, Vancouver, in that first period, heavily outshot the Toronto Maple Leafs. Problem, the Toronto Maple Leafs scored, 3 goals in the first? I don't even have the game log up because, 3 goals.
Yeah, so I was, so I started watching in the third period, and I kind of wanted to check in with people. Was it like this all along? And they kind of said yes and no, because I feel like Canucks had more chances, at least in the first period, but the fact that Canucks could not score on any of their special teams, like on any of their power plays, I think is pretty
They had a
pretty
2-man
telling.
advantage in the first period, and I don't know if they got a shot, to be quite honest. It was, I mean, they attempted a couple. I don't know if they actually got one on net. I think what was telling about the Vancouver Canucks in that 2-man advantage, when they were throwing the puck around, actually, no, it might have been only 1 man, because I think it was 4-on-3, actually, come to think of it, because it was when PD got high-sticked. But regardless, lots of space in the ice, and what are they doing? Throwing it around the perimeter. They had Jake in front of the net trying for a tip in, but they weren't moving the puck with speed. Like, this is the thing that you and I have spoken about when they've been successful.
Thousands
What
of
is it
times
that they
it
do
feels
well?
like.
Move the puck with
Yeah.
speed. They don't allow the other team to set up. But when you just toss it around the perimeter and, maybe, swap spots where Besser and PD might swap, or Roenick might swap with one of them, the other team is just going to set up shop. They're going to play zone. They're going to be like, yeah, just stay out there. It doesn't scare us. The reason why, though, the Toronto had the 3-goal lead really comes down to two things. Defensively, the Vancouver Canucks, whatever that system is I had mentioned before, it ain't working. Even, I think it was in, Wyatt, who we don't often speak ill of him, but maybe we do because of everything he did. He knows what he was. He had said that it's scary that this defensive system was so messed up that Quinn Hughes couldn't figure it out. And, I think back now, yeah, Quinn was having a tough season, and I genuinely now have to agree with Wyatt in that regard. Like, whatever the system is, Quinn couldn't do it, probably a sign that the system is broken. But
also
Demko also didn't have his best game because apparently he picked up some form of injury that went from, we didn't pull him because he got the hook. We pulled him because he was hurt. We'll evaluate him today. And now he's retroactively on the IR to Saturday. Like, your goaltender got hurt on Saturday. It was retroactively placed on the IR as of Saturday. And I mean, as the way things go in the land of the Vancouver Canucks, when you're day to day, you're really week to week. When you're week to week, you're really month to month. When you're month to month, you're season to season.
Okay, I mean, two things on that. One, I would go back to Quinn Hughes and say that, like, if Quinn Hughes couldn't figure out the system, like, surely, like, I can't imagine that the system wasn't his system. Like,
I don't think it was. I think about what we've seen,
not have been.
I think. Well, no, this is the thing is and again, I'm not anywhere near connected, but someone like Wyatt, someone like Wags, we're seeing this. PJ has actually sort of talked about it as well. The defensive system that the Vancouver Canucks are employing underfoot is different than the system they were using under Tocchet. And as much as I think you or I would be like, oh, Tocchet, whatever system it is allergic to offense. Adam Foote's system is allergic to defense, but the offense doesn't seem to be a thing. And we saw a different Quinn Hughes. Now, the other counterpoint to that was Quinn completely checked out from the get-go. Maybe.
That's the thing. I do find it hard to believe.
Like himself.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying. I find it hard to believe from a Canucks standpoint you wouldn't approach it as that is Quinn Hughes' blue line and he runs it from his...
I know, but hey, it's the Vancouver Canucks and they do Canucks stuff for all we know.
And also, to go back to the other point of Thatcher Demko, I mean, we're at the point now where it's like, we've talked about Thatcher Demko on and off as like, he has a potential. He's a Vezina caliber goaltender, but he's never had a Vezina caliber season because he hasn't stayed healthy long enough.
Well,
is he completely off the books in terms of trade assets? You would think so at this point.
Oh yeah.
Like
if another team takes him, they're doing so because you're attaching something to take him off, like his contract off your books, and the other team is completely accepting that they might have a goaltender that they're quote unquote writing off. But hey, in the happen sense that he actually is healthy, will have lucked out. That's not why they're getting a Thatcher Demko.
And I have spoken on Twitter about this, on social media in general. We don't know what goaltending is anymore because Jordan Binnington has been picked for Team Canada. So who knows what good goaltending is? But I think it's fair to say that Thatcher Demko's market value has been significantly decreased. All the concerns that he came into the season with has been brought to fruition. So at least we know now, I'm like, he's part of the rebuild because he doesn't have the trade value, right? He's much more valuable as a Canucks player than as a trade chip.
Switching gears, talking about the Vancouver Goldeneyes, they had a couple of games this past week out in Ottawa against the Charge, and then in Quebec City against the Victoire, that being another one of the takeover tour games. I mean, to talk about the Goldeneyes sort of in a broader context, this team is struggling to score goals, and it never really occurred to me how potent their offense should be, considering who's on the roster. That, I think, is what's really truly playing into why, Vancouver is where they are. Now, I say that and, have to point out that the Goldeneyes did attempt to pull a Vancouver Canucks with a, potential, come from behind win in the third period. They've successfully done that once this season when they were in Ottawa. But unfortunately for them, that was not to be the case. Ottawa putting the icing on the cake to win that game 4-2. We saw goals from Jakes and Karvinen. Karvinen's first goal as a Vancouver Goldeneye. Jakes, that was her fourth. And if I'm correct, Jakes is like one of the leading scorers on the Goldeneyes, which should suggest something is not quite working out up front because with her being a defenseman.
Yeah, it's fair to say that, like, I mean, we talked a lot about, like, the star player issue when Goldeneyes came into it. Like, there are these players that are, like, Jen Gardner, Hannah Miller, obviously, Sarah Nurse, among them, but Sarah Nurse yet to be a factor, really. But, like, the star player
Sarah Nurse
factor
is injured, so I don't think we can use her fairly in the lack of contribution.
100%. And, like, by the way, is to say, like, we're very impressed with Sophie, like, the Goldeneyes, like, representation on Team Canada, like, Jen Gardner, Sophie Jakes, making it along with Claire Thompson and Mash Meyer. I think that's it.
Yeah, I know Mash is on it, Constance. I don't know if there's others off the top of my head.
Yeah, Sarah Nurse is on there. Obviously injury dependent. Yeah, it remains to be a problem. Like, the scoring is a problem, but I'm also not that concerned when I watch the way they play, because I'm kind of fine with where they're at. Goldeneyes. Sorry, Goldeneyes. They remain last in the league with the loss to Victoire today, but the way they're playing shows a lot of promise. So I do think they're on a definite growing period. Well, and obviously, like, PWHL season. Team. Yeah, they're the only concern I have is there remains 4 expansion teams that are probably going to be added in the off season. So that's my only concern, because otherwise I would say they're growing at the right rate.
Yeah, like, if I were to use the lens that I use against the Vancouver Canucks, I don't think it would be fair to use that same lens to the Vancouver Goldeneyes. The two teams are entirely different in the spaces that they exist in. Expectations were high I shouldn't say that. Expectations were higher than they currently are for the Vancouver Canucks. I don't know what expectations were for the Goldeneyes. I think we expected the team to be doing better than they are, but I don't.
In the standings, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're kind of playing at this right level. Like, they're kind of playing at a good level. But yeah, we expected them to have a few more points, that's for sure. But, like, it's not something I'm concerned about. What I am concerned about is the fact that we're building chemistry over a shorter season than the NHL. And the fact that may not matter when it comes to next season and we face another expansion draft. obviously well aware that we are the beneficiaries of an expansion draft. We're the beneficiaries of the takeover tour, but that does and also does stymie us at the same time.
Yeah. Did you catch any of the game against the Victoire?
I didn't. I wasn't around for that. Yeah.
So I will admit I was sort of flipping channels. There was some football on, FA Cup, Victoire were playing. I was flipping through. So I did watch a little bit of it. What I did see, MASH playing like a number one goaltender.
Yeah,
we've spoken quite highly of MASH in a number of Vancouver losses, where honestly he has kept the team in far longer than they. I was going to say deserve, but I don't mean that in the sort of pejorative sense. Like she has just done miracles. It sucks that the goal that went in today pinballed. I actually had the game on when it happened, and I thought, like, did I look away? Like, it's that how did that go in moment? Because it was like a dump in from the point that I don't know which Goldeneye deflected in off of, but that was the difference. It's also tough that Vancouver had an opportunity with that 5-minute major in the third period, Abby Roque for a check to the head of Abby Barine. They weren't able to manufacture anything. Also doesn't help when a couple of minutes, 2.5 minutes into that 5-minute major, Barine gets penalized for high sticking.
It's just like the most. It's like if you hadn't watched the game, pick a player each side to have served penalties, and you would have picked those two players out.
Yeah,
the Abbies.
Did you hear that Abby Roque was mic'd up?
I didn't. I missed this story. Okay.
So she had some thoughts on the penalty while she's sitting in the box, and the review is going, on. She's commenting about how Abby Barine skated into her hip, that the Vancouver player was the one who made the contact happen, which, you and I've talked about this in the context of NHL. When it comes to protecting player safety, there's a responsibility on both parts, but you can't victim blame in the sense that, well, they were in a defenseless position. They put themselves in a bad spot. Well, you can't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
The review goes on for about an hour, and when she gets told that it's still going to be the 5-minute major that was called, and it's a game misconduct, she had some choice words to the referees about how she did not feel that was the correct call that was made. It was, again, I'm going to say a poor look. We only know this because she was mic'd up.
Yeah.
But, looking at the replay, like, Abby Roque hit Abby Barine's head, like a check to the head. It was clear. Yes, Barine had her head down, but she wasn't suspecting it. Like, that's the thing is, you now have a player who is not suspecting a hit is going to happen. That's defenseless. Like, they're not protecting themselves. You need to protect that player.
Yeah, I agree from all standpoints. I feel like, in general, officials don't get enough respect in the NHL and the PWHL. Obviously, PWHL, less experienced officials in general, and we've seen some really rubbish calls. In the PWHL, I do think the standard of officiating is lower. Is it a lot lower? No, not really, and that is not a compliment to the NHL at all. But yeah, I do think we need to hold hockey players in general to a higher standard, and I think that should include the PWHL in terms of respect to referees.
Anyhow, as we sort of look ahead to the week that will be, the Vancouver Canucks have 4 games. They'll wrap up their trip on the road in 3, come home for 1. Tomorrow night or tonight, depending on the perspective of when you're listening to this episode, they'll be taking on the Montreal Canadiens. They then go to Ottawa to take on the Sens. Thursday is when they're on the last game of the road trip down in Columbus, taking the Blue Jackets. And then they wind up back home to face the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday night. So looking ahead at those 4 games, are there any points to be had?
What a great question.
Oh, and for anyone watching them on TV, that Monday night game is on Prime.
Don't I love Prime? Just sidebar, but I've yet to see Prime make any positive difference. Like, it's annoying enough that you can't, the Prime mobile experience is impossible. It's really difficult to watch, but I'd be kind of fine with that if the broadcast was a step up on Sportsnet. That's not what I've seen. I'm sure it's a step up on other broadcasts, like, that don't have John Shorthouse and Dan Murphy, and the excellent Sportsnet Pacific crew. I'm sure it's a step up. To me, I've yet to see it. I think it's lame. Anyway, I don't really see any games that stand out to me from a points perspective.
Well,
It's possible Canucks get one. Okay. Go right ahead. Where do you see Canucks picking up points? Okay, fair enough.
Senators. Only because Ottawa is currently going through some stuff, and I'm not trying to.
And when are they not?
Make
but yes,
light of anything that might be happening, because I truly don't know. But it is wild what's happening or not happening, and that level of distraction, I feel, gives the Vancouver Canucks an opportunity to get a point or possibly 2 out of Ottawa. But that's the only game where I see anything happening. I say that and watch them go
I think that's fair.
4-0.
No, but I think that's fair. That's probably the only game where I see anything happening too. Yeah. Are we saying 2 points or are we saying 1 point?
I'm going to be positive. I'll say 2 points.
Okay, let's say 2. I'm going to go with you on the 2.
Right. And then the Vancouver Goldeneyes, they're going to wrap up their road trip in Toronto against the Setter there on the 17th.
They're going to lose that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's
going to be closer, but they're going to lose that.
Yeah, it's hard to see the win. But maybe they'll prove us wrong. Maybe the Goldeneyes listen to us.
I know. Okay, no, but I see them winning both games. Like, I see them winning at home against Toronto on the 22nd and away against the Torrent, which is not really away because it's in Denver, but it is away.
Yeah, but we can talk about that next week and next week's, unless there's no episode next week and you haven't told me.
No, I haven't. I'm just trying to get rolling. That's on Sunday. That's on Sunday. Oh no, that's 2 weeks on Sunday. Sorry. My bad.
It's okay. I understand. Says the woman who does not have jet lag, but apparently is still struggling.
I can't read dates. Apparently. But so I'm going very positive for the road ahead. But yes, I think we're both saying 1 loss tonight this week for the Goldeneyes.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. You're listening to the C4 Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Anna, Chris, and Craig.
Take hitting out of the game. You can't hit anymore, so don't do it.
The unsportsmanlike conduct, I want to get an explanation on it.
No kidding.
Because how do you get suspended for unsportsmanlike conduct?
Plus interference. There's no interference there. He had the puck.
Now, Madison never ever did that before. Now, why did he do it? Because he was mad.
Well, your early favorite for the Calder Trophy, that's for sure. Elias Pettersson, you might even say your early favorite for the Hart Trophy.
Just to get back to your question, Elias is going to play plenty. He's going to get a lot of power play time. And I'm concerned about our offense. We lost 200-point players, and we've got to find a way to score.
Have you read or have been watching Heated Rivalry?
So I've watched the whole thing, and I've read roughly a third of the book. I kind of started the book too soon to the show coming out, so I wanted to wait.
Okay. I have not done either.
Okay, because I feel like we need to talk about it at some stage.
Well, just to preface this, like when I saw the previews for Heated Rivalry, my initial reaction, that's going to be a heck of a story. I knew very little other than what I saw based on the promotions that Crave was using in marketing,
which was kind of
But like to me, that's a story that needs to be told. I think it's going to be very compelling, and I believe it's going to create a clearing for some very comprehensive conversations. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah, totally.
Now, have I watched it? No, but that's not because I don't think it's a good show or based on the reviews I've heard. It's actually quite stellar.
It's just great show.
It wasn't something that interested me, and I'm now at this point where I'm kind of like thinking maybe I need to watch it.
I think you do. Honestly, I think it would be great for us to discuss, and maybe get someone on who is well versed in that kind of stuff. Because I mean, it's so up my street. It's unreal. Like, I literally have a gay hockey script that I've written already. So it is very much in my wheelhouse, up my street, all of that. It took me a while to watch because I was away and with my family.
That's why I'd sort of asked. It might not have been as easy to watch on the other side of the pond.
I have now caught up. I love it. There's parts I love more than others, but overall, I've loved Jacob Tini. I think he's a really smart guy. I love Letterkenny. I think he's overall approached it in the right way. I think the actors are great. In terms of as a hockey fan, I think we can get more into it once you've seen it, but a lot of it's very accurate to my understanding of hockey. There's certain parts that aren't, but overall, I think the kind of vibe of pro hockey is what it's captured.
Yeah, and just so our listeners know, I've not watched Letterkenny, I've not watched Shoresy. I'm not denying that neither of those shows are good. They are. It's just for me, it's not been something that I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna throw it in my rotation. But
at least Heated Rivalry is short. It's 6 episodes.
Yeah, and that makes it a little more consumable for me, and I could binge it over the course of a weekend. And that's sort of lately, that's what I've been doing, is binging shows that I haven't completely watched, or series, some older stuff. I'm doing Falling Skies right now, which is a sci-fi thing. Noah Wyle. It's sort of what got me back into Noah Wyle. Available was watching The Pit. And then
love The Pit.
Yeah. So anyhow, I watched a few episodes of ER. Again, it's The Pit. That's I wonder all the stuff that I like Noah Wyle in. Anyhow, the reason I sort of bring up Heated Rivalry, and this is not in the rundown, this is us riffing, is the NHL has taken notice that there are quite a few people out there that, one, are quite enamored with Heated Rivalry, two, are people who would not describe them as fans of hockey in the traditional sense that are interested, which the NHL is like, oh, we struggle to tap in on this market, so boy, let's embrace. And I wish I could give credit to who it was that I saw say this on social media, but they posited that the NHL embracing Heated Rivalry is the greatest tell, when Heated Rivalry is pretty much telling you what's wrong with the NHL, and that the NHL doesn't realize this.
I mean, one of the actors, Francois Arnaud, who plays Scott Hunter in Heated Rivalry, he kind of described on the red carpet NHL as a failing league that Heated Rivalry are directing fans to, which isn't inaccurate. The fact that Gary Bettman will put out a statement in support of Heated Rivalry when they have, within the last couple of years, banned Pride Tape. They have allowed a handful of players to direct a banning of special jerseys because they refuse to wear Pride jerseys. The NHL has not, quote unquote, done the work. I'm all for NHL team admins who are probably hockey girlies in every and best sense of the word, in a very inclusive sense of the word, who have probably watched Heated Rivalry and big fans and have a very inclusive view of hockey. I'm all for them embracing it, but when like when Gary is saying, "Oh yeah, like this is such a fun way for people to learn hockey," and it's like, yeah, but wait until they learn how depressing and
Yeah.
how like anti-inclusion hockey is. Like they will be gone in a second. We're only still here because we love the sport. We should be gone.
Yeah. Oh, well, and that's I mean, again, Gary comes from the, old guy hockey club, like that. He's never going to get it. Like there are far too many people that are still involved in the league across all teams. They're just never going to get it.
100%.
Hudson Williams, good Canadian kid. He was on a
Good BC
podcast
kid.
with Andy Cohen. Yeah. And he said how he has had professional players reach out to him and thank him for portraying the role that he does, because it and I'm not gonna go continue because I'm gonna get the quote wrong, but they had said like these are players who are not out of the closet, and they feel threatened by the culture around them, and seeing Hudson do what he is doing brings warmth to them. And to me, hearing that, I again, there's so much the NHL, if it were to just come to its senses and realize that they're creating a problem for their own players, like they are harming their players.
And they're harming their fans, right? Like they're limiting their fan base. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Friend of the show, Brock McGillis, has talked about this a lot, and he was heavily misquoted about heated rivalry, but I think the record's been pretty much corrected on this. But, I think he's just so aware. I think what's really good about heated rivalry, and spoiler alert, but, they don't come to there's no happy ending, there. It's more, these are the problems. These are the, it's very much highlighting the problems that exist rather than presenting a solution. So I think, hopefully people are more and more aware, of the problem of hockey, because it's not to me, at least, I don't think heated rivalry necessarily presents hockey in any good light. Maybe people will be interested from it just from a fandom perspective, but it's not it even shows hockey in an interesting way. All the fun, cool stuff about hockey, you just don't see in heated rivalry. Not to be dismissive, but it's really difficult to show proper professional sport in any TV show, never mind one with a Canadian budget. I mean, we've talked about this, I think, before, but Ted Lasso.
This was Canadian made?
But Ted Lasso, is had a huge budget, and the sport sections and that were terrible, awful.
Wait. You're telling me the football I was watching in Ted Lasso.
But literally, it doesn't actually show that much hockey. Maybe people will be interested just from an perspective of, oh, they're hockey players, let me see what hockey is. But really, once they get to hockey, we need to show them. We've talked about this, we talked about for example, we're talking about what hockey looks like for out players when they get there. Not good right now.
Oh, not at all.
Right? Yeah.
So, the Vancouver Canucks, in the past, I would have suggested that they were a more progressive franchise in that sense, and in more recent times, less so. But then you look at a team just down the highway from us, the Seattle Kraken, and I feel that they, as an organization, would be, and I don't know the locker room culture at all, but I feel from there as an organization, they would be a place where I believe a player who were to be out would be embraced not only by the team but by the community. And I think I'm not trying to suggest that is the case, or because I truly don't know. And let's be honest, I'm a cisgendered straight man. I'm not by any way, shape, or form incapacity to truly understand. But I do appreciate that a show like Heated Rivalry is elevating what I had referenced earlier, conversation that should be taking place. Like, fans are fans. There should be an open, inclusive experience for fans. It should be an open, inclusive experience for players. And it should be progressive in that sense. That's a better version of what the NHL could aspire to be and be.
Yeah, it is interesting. I will say, like, Heated Rivalry does present, I would say it doesn't go far enough in presenting, especially Canadian hockey culture, as so, like, I think it goes a bit light on Canadian hockey culture, especially because obviously one of the players is Russian, so there's obviously that element that it does go into more, the Russian politics of it all. But, like, the fact that, I mean, it should be obvious maybe from the fact of the players' fear of coming out that, like, hopefully people understand how big a deal that is. And, like, yeah, we have so few players. Like, Luke Prokop, we hope is going to play in the NHL one day, but, like, if you're coming from his point of view, why would you want to?
Anyhow, curious to our listeners, have you watched Heated Rivalry? Will you be watching it? Have you read the book? What are your thoughts? I'm genuinely curious. You can join conversation in the C4 Discord, discord.io/C4 podcast, or alternatively on all the different social media platforms that exist. Speaking of which, if you were on social media and you were trying to find the show, we're at the C4 Podcast on X, at the Real C4 Podcast on Threads, c4podcast.com on Blue Sky. If you happen to look for Anna and I, we're on all the social media platforms, though I don't use X anymore. Anna's there. She's A4603. Yeah. On Threads, we're both the same. She's A4603. I'm Lightforce. On Blue Sky, I'm lightforce.ca. Anna's A4603.bsky. I think social. I do want to reference social media just quickly. After the Detroit Red Wings debacle, I commented, one, I don't think I'm fooling anyone who listens. I'm fairly pessimistic when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks in sort of the modern sense. I have felt that the Vancouver Canucks have sort of basked in mediocrity. I'm not denying there haven't been real exciting flashes. They happen so infrequent that the below standard hockey exists. And I sort of posited, like, hey, this is where I am. But for those who remain positive, because I can appreciate there are some out there like, yeah, I see some positivity. There's some good things. I'm like, is it a mindset? Like, for those who are positive, like, is it just your mindset? Because there's times when I'm a glass half empty guy. And then I had also said, is there something else that I'm missing? Because I can also appreciate my lens might be a little blurry. Some really good conversations took place. A couple people who didn't have the same view as me were sharing, like, hey, here's what I see. This is, do you want to live through 5 to 8 years of poor hockey just to rebuild? And I'm like, well, I've gone through 5 to 8 so far. Like, what's another 5 to 8? Like, you're not convincing me here. 2 people, though, felt to disclose that I must not be a real fan. So to anyone who gatekeeps others' fandom on social media, get stuffed.
There we go.
I mean, I'm sorry, I was a little emotional there. I just, like, you get to choose who you get to support. And I may not agree with it. Like, there are some Boston Bruins fans out there. I don't know what's up with that. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you who you should support or not. Yeah. It's your choice to make.
If you want to be a Montreal Metros fan or Boston Raiders, yeah, Boston Raiders.
Yeah,
fan.
I've not watched the show, so I don't know the fictional teams that were used.
I do enjoy Boston Raiders because it's very, like, New England-y, yeah.
I had someone ask me who, again, not really a hockey fan, but was watching the show, but knows I follow the NHL. They're like, are those the real names? I'm like, no. Well, why don't they use the real names?
Not be allowed.
The real names cost money.
Yeah. By the way, interestingly, there is a film, one of my favorite films, which is called Breakfast with Scott, where the Toronto Maple Leafs gave full permission for their everything to be used, and that's a gaming character too. So interesting little side fact. And that was 10 years ago.
I'm
15 years
curious
ago.
if a lot of money changed hands there or not.
I don't think so. This is
I mean,
tiny Canadian film. I think it was
Heated
Maple Leafs
Rivalry
being
is a tiny
yeah.
Canadian show.
Yeah, but I do think it's different. Yeah,
I'm not denying it's not. I'm just, being cheeky.
I mean, I'm also coming from a point of view of the industry and knowing the Canadian industry a bit. So,
as we look to wrap things up here, Anna, got any final words of wisdom for people this week?
I think hopefully this is a lesson for people that aren't tuned in that Canada makes great content. I have been on that bus for a long time, so I will just say be very tuned in to TV shows that Canada makes, because there's some really great stuff out there. Jacob Tierney shows, but other shows included.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback. I've been watching a bunch of stuff on CBC as of late. New seasons of Allegiance and Saint-Pierre just debuted this past week. Great content. I mean, Saint-Pierre is actually an interesting one because it is Canadian content filmed technically in France, being that it's on Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon.
Oh, right.
Two
That's
islands
true.
that are French
That's
territory
funny.
just off the coast of Newfoundland. But it's a really good show. Allegiance, it is filmed here in Surrey. There are some creative liberties in the context of you can't go directly from where you are in Surrey to Point Roberts in 5 minutes. That was this past week's episode.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I have seen shows where it goes from New York to San Francisco in 5 minutes down the Vancouver road.
But yeah, it was, but they actually said, we'll be there in 5 or 10 minutes, and not in a million years with zero traffic will you get there.
Hey,
but again,
I mean, remember the draft, for the Kraken, when they said you could get to Vancouver in an hour, and everyone was like, how?
By plane. That's the only way, by plane. The other show that was on CBC that's no longer on CBC because Netflix decided we want it, SkyMed. I really enjoyed the series.
Oh, I really
the new
want to
season's
see
been
that.
filmed. It has not yet debuted on Netflix. My worry is that now that Netflix has sort of said, I want that Netflix has a history of taking really good content and saying, we're bored, see you later. So that's a shame. But there is...
Just on that point, never forget when Heated Rivalry gets all the attention of and it's already been nominated for awards as an HBO show. It's not an HBO show.
Oh gosh, no.
It's a Crave show. It's a Canadian show. It is our tax dollars at work. So, and I'm very proud of that.
Stuff like that would have never seen the light of day if it was a US based
I mean, do you know what the US studio said? They said that the two main characters shouldn't have sex until the second season.
Whatever.
Which, if you've seen that show, that's crazy. Yeah. Either way, just remember that's a Canadian show, and we have lots to be proud of in terms of media up here.
Speaking of Canadian shows, we are one. And if you want to support this Canadian show, you can do so by going to buymeacoffee.com/C4podcast. Buy Me a Coffee, otherwise known as
Buy Me a Pint.
And you can throw a few bucks our way if you provide a one-time contribution that goes into the pint fund that if and when Anna and I were ever to get together again and actually enjoy a pint or two, we will. If you support us on either a monthly or annual basis, those funds go into the Keep the Lights on the Podcast fund. And that is what helps pay our bills, the host provider that we're with. Which is significant now that we're independent again, our domain and website and all that jazz. So we really value all of you who do support us, whether it be periodically or on a recurring basis. You're really what helps us make this magic happen. So on behalf of Anna, myself, Chris, and our recording bot in the background, Craig. We out.